All right, hello everybody, and welcome back. I am on a cruise for my dad's 70th birthday, and so I don't have a whole lot of time this week to spend additional time prepping for Hartford. Prowess is currently the name of the game in Standard. It's definitely the deck to beat. It's the deck to tune and refine. And CMAC won the challenge the other day with a list that's a little different than some of the other lists we have seen. This one has two Thundertrap trainers and two Towning Big Enoughs. It is only playing two stock ups, which is quite interesting, and no Spell Pierce in the main board. And so I think what we're going to do today is we're going to give this list a shot, see if it feels any different, and we can use that in our considerations of what we choose to play for Hartford. And so with that, I'm going to jump into the first match, and I'll see you guys there. All right, here we are for our first match, and we have one land and no cantrips. So even on the draw, I do think we're going to have to mulligan this. This one looks a lot better. We do have two lands. We have Swiftspear Rage, Thundertrap Trainer, and Stock Up as ways to find additional spells. I think I'm going to keep this and then probably bottom our Monstrous Rage. We do only have this one red source, and so I think I'd like to save that for my Swiftspear. Given that I only have one red source, I'm going to go ahead and play the Storm Chaser's Talent on turn one. That way, if I do draw another blue spell, I can kind of make decisions about how I want my next turn to play out. Momentum Breaker. Goodbye to our Otter. Does look like our opponent is playing Esper. Ooh, I think I like this Drake-Catcher a little bit more than our other options, so I'm going to go ahead and play the Drake-Catcher. It is rough into like about all of Pixie's removal, but I think we're going to give it our best shot to play some spells here. And if they have nowhere to run, they should cast it pretty much immediately because we want to, what's it called? They wouldn't want it to die if we like used a Prowess Sugar or something. So I think, we have a couple options here. We can play the Monastery Swiftspear and attack, which holds up Town ain't big enough. We could play the Thundertrap Trainer, but that leaves us a little bit weaker to our Drake-Catcher dying. We could also play our Stock Up. Also leaves our Drake-Catcher a little weak to dying, but maybe helps us get a little bit more gas for next turn. I think I want to play the Swiftspear and attack. And then if they don't do anything, I'm going to play the Thundertrap Trainer. I think is my current plan. And so, alright, they're just going to take it. Sounds good to me. We'll put a count on our Drake-Catcher, and then we'll continue to follow our plan of playing this Thundertrap Trainer. Should be nice to hopefully find a spell to play next turn. And we whiffed. I don't know what the percentage chances of that happening in this deck are, but I feel like they're probably very low. Alright, Sunpearl Kieran. You know, it picking up the Momentum Breaker is definitely not super nerve-wracking. I think we're definitely okay sacrificing this Thundertrap Trainer, which is kind of nice. With three creatures, you know, we have a good amount of fodder, and I definitely don't mind losing our Thundertrap Trainer here. Alright, played another land, attacking for 2. I have no desire to block. I don't want them to, like, cast Towning big enough, bouncing 2 other things, and kill my Drake-Catcher. And so, presuming this is their attack, I won't block. It's just not worth the risk of them having something. Is generally how I feel in these situations, and they are attacking with the Kieran as well, which is fine, which means that we're gonna be probably a little bit more aggressive on the following turn. Alright, we did draw a land. I'm gonna go ahead and play our land before we stock up, that way we have this blue-red land up. It gives us kind of the most choice going into the next turn. Alright, they did let the Prowess Triggers resolve, that's nice for us. Alright, and then I think we're okay on lands. I have a feeling we're going to take Corey's Steelcutter Opt. And I'm not going to cast this Opt unless I, like, have a need to. We're already getting enough counters on this Drake-Catcher where we would be able to make a Drake. And so I don't really want to... Okay, so they're bouncing our Drake-Catcher. Right now I'm considering casting the Opt. I think our next turn, like, they're probably going to play the Momentum Breaker again, so it probably looks like Quarry Steelcutter Draycatcher. We do have more options on our next turn if we hold up the Opt. Okay, I think I'm going to value holding up the Opt over the 1 point of damage. It just means that next turn we have a little bit more flexibility in what we do with our Quarry Steelcutter. Also, with Towning big enough, like, there is just a good chance that we want to double spell on their turn, which is always a fun thing that we can do. Okay. We are losing life points pretty quickly, but I think we'll be okay. All right, go to our turn. All right, another Opt means I think I do just want to play the Opt over the Draycatcher. I'm pretty happy with another land, but just getting a creature feels kind of nice. Okay, I'm definitely content having a second land, and I am going to attack, see if there's anything that they do on attacks. And I probably will play this Draycatcher. I think Kieran, like, either Towning big enough or Kieran, something that bounces to their hand is probably the most likely response. And so I want to have 2 creatures, because even if they have nowhere to run, I didn't consider this. I was going to say, Momentum Breaker getting recast is the most likely option, and if I can put another creature in play, then, you know, maybe I can sacrifice something else. Ooh, Entity Tracker, that does not feel very good. Yeah. I definitely considered them replaying the Momentum Breaker, but I did not consider them bouncing my Otter as well, or my Monk. I am at 8, so I need to be a little concerned, especially given they drew a card. Okay. 2 cantrips is really nice here. I'm going to take the Torch to the Tower. I'm doing this specifically because I can both kill their Entity Tracker, and I can double spell on their turn to get another Monk, which is really nice. Monastery Swiftspear. I think I'm happy to play. So I draw Monastery Swiftspear off of the Opt. Ooh, I just realized I sacrificed the thing that would have been best to bounce with Towning big enough. But I think that's okay. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and attack for 2. Try to push some damage. They will gain 4 at some point. I definitely don't think I'm thinking through all my turns in full. I need to slow down in my head a little bit. Okay, so they made another Otter. Pass to attackers. Okay, so I can make another Otter and draw a card, or another Monk, and then maybe bounce the Quarry Steelcutter and the token. I feel like that feels kind of nice. It saves us 2 points of damage. So I'm going to do that. Get our Swiftspear, we'll leave it on top. That's going to give us something to double spell with our Quarry Steelcutter next turn. We'll bounce the Steelcutter and the token. Get our Prowess Trigger first. Doesn't really matter whether we reattach or not, since we're bouncing it. That'll return the Otter, and that'll take a little bit of pressure off of our life total. Not a whole lot, but enough that I think it matters, especially since we got the Monk. It'll help us maybe try to finish our opponent off on their turn. I have Nickelback stuck in my head. I will say my attention span lately has not been the best. Okay, so they are going to recast some spells, get rid of our cards. Not the end of the world. Mountain, definitely not what we want to see. So they can spend 4 mana and buy back a Townie big enough. If they don't get a land, that's not the end of the world. I think I'm just going to go ahead and try to play both of my spells and make some attacks. And hopefully we can draw, like, Stock Up or Thundertrap Trainer or a cantrip or something that lets us double spell next turn to finish the game off. They will have an additional 4 life, but I think if we don't attack, like, we're just never winning the game. And so I want to try to play to winning the game rather than losing. Ooh, looks like they have a spell. Nowhere to Run is a good one. Putting us to 2 here is not really what we want to see with a 2/1 flyer in the air. That's relatively difficult for us to deal with. But we'll see. Maybe we have... They're going to be at 8. It's definitely not easy for us to kill them here from 8. And a land is definitely not going to do it. So we'll try again in the next game. Alright, against Pixie, I think typically Spell Pierce is pretty good. I personally am not a fan of bringing in Litho Barrage. A Braid is just a more expensive version of some of the other things that we do. And I don't think I like the End of the Flood Maws. Yeah, I typically don't think Litho Barrage is like the right approach. Lynx is definitely good. And then what are we cutting? Towning Big Enough is good against their tokens, but I don't know if it's too slow. Swift Spear is a little awkward into the removal suite. I think I'm going to cut 2 of the Swift Spears. And we'll run with this and see how that goes. Alright, our opponent is taking their time sideboarding. I don't know how to feel about the Thundertrap Trainer Tiny Big Enough thing. I don't know if, like, maybe I should consider playing the deck in a slightly different way because I'm playing the Thundertrap Trainer and the Tiny Big Enough. It's just so far they've felt a little awkward. Alright, we're on the play. We have creatures, we have stock-ups. I feel like that's really all we can ask for. So we'll go ahead and play our Storm Chaser's Talon on turn 1. The nice thing is now we will have 2 creatures the turn they try to play a Momentum Breaker. Alright, a Verge. It doesn't matter which land we play. I guess I technically should have attacked first, but since they're tapped out, it doesn't super matter. This is what our game action was looking like either way. Storm Chaser's Talon. That's good news for us. That means it's not Nowhere to Run. Another tap land. Okay. Well, I think because of what our opponent's side of the field looks like, I kind of want to just try to push a little bit of aggression early. I'm going to do that by casting Sleight of Hand and Opt rather than the stock-ups. This will help us make our Drake Catcher a little bit bigger, apply a little bit more pressure. Sleight of Hand looks at more cards. I do think I'm going to take the land, mostly because I want to cast Stock Up next turn, and having an additional land to play with it is nice. And then the only reason I didn't cast the Opt before damage was because maybe they didn't block if, like, we had Monstrous Rage or something. All right, that being said, I don't want more lands. Okay, well, we're getting more lands anyway. So I'll definitely take 4 damage here. There's not a whole lot that they're, like, super excited to do from here, I think. Another Storm Chaser's Talent. You know, it is a blocker. And they do have Towning Big Enough up now, which is always a little annoying. Sunspine Lynx is so good against Pixie. It just, like, their mana base already is all lands that Sunspine Lynx deals damage for. No more lies. Okay. Guess we'll get our Prowess triggers and go ahead and try to make some attacks. And, you know, the more damage they take, the better it is for us, because Sunspine Lynx is... Every turn they play a land, Sunspine Lynx looks like more damage. There's only, like, 2 lands in their deck that don't make it do more damage. Alright. No attack. Interesting. Okay. I do think I'm going to play this Swift Spear into the stock up. Just helps us push more damage. Any amount of damage we do here is much better with Lynx. And so I just want to keep pushing that damage. Interesting. Okay. So let's think about all of our options. Our land is tapped, so if we want to consider playing Rage this turn, we would need a land that's not great into Towning Big Enough, but they may need to play the Towning Big Enough proactively So we consider taking Mountain Monstrous Rage because it likely leaves them dead to Sunspine Links next turn. We could also consider taking 2 spells, but I think our next turn really looks like Sunspine Links. And I don't really want to play a long game against Pixie. So I think I'm going to take the Mountain and the Monstrous Rage. And I probably will not preemptively cast it, because I don't want it to run into, like, Towning big enough. But if they don't play a spell or something, then... Or if they play a spell, then I will consider casting this Monstrous Rage. Monstrous Rage Sunspine Links is kind of just as good next turn, which is why I was okay taking the Mountain and the Monstrous Rage. If they don't do something proactively, then, you know, we're okay with them just taking the amount of damage, and then hopefully we can try to kill them next turn. But we weren't really double spelling. Like, the other options were like Quarry Steelcutter, and we weren't really double spelling next turn either way. Looks like they're considering playing a spell. A double block. Okay. My guess is this is some sort of spell. Towning big enough? Yep, okay. And so we're going to let these things resolve. That'll bounce this to our hand. And if we cast Monstrous Rage here, they do lose both otters. But if we cast it on the otter token, then they die next turn because they take 4. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cast it on the otter token, planning to just cast Sunspine Links next turn. Go ahead and put them to 4. And then hopefully we don't have to worry about No More Lies. These lists typically don't play more than 1 or 2. So given that we already saw it, I'm not feeling super concerned about that being their out. Quarry Steelcutter. Okay, I do think I'm just going to try to cast it. Quarry Steelcutter, Drakecatcher means we have a little bit of pressure next turn. But they need to have exactly No More Lies. And they don't. And so a little rewarded for our decisions there. I think that we don't want the game to go on much longer, and so it feels like a pretty good approach. And I think I'm happy with the way our list looks. Drakecatcher's a little awkward. Maybe we'll go up on the Swift Spears and cut more Drakecatchers. Maybe we want stock up. Okay, I think I'm going to try this. Stock up gives us more ways to try to find our Sunspine Links. And I think Drakecatcher is just like a little too difficult of a card to play into the removal. But maybe that's true, Swift Spear too. I'm not sure. We'll try both and see how they feel. We can't cast our spells, so let's go ahead and mulligan. This one's not great, but we have us play turn 1 play, and stock up is definitely one of the best cards you can have when you mulligan. And so I'm going to go ahead and just play our Monastery Swift Spear and go in for some damage. Anchorage. Darkside Shores. Their mana's looking pretty good for them. It does mean that our Sunspine Links is going to be scarier as the game goes on. Alright, we have a Burst Lightning. I'm pretty happy to like just proactively play the Burst Lightning against any creature they have here that it kills. Like if they have an otter that, you know, has a good chance of surviving, then I probably wouldn't, but like they don't really play 2 instant speed things. So if they just go to end step here, I probably will just cast Burst Lightning on the otter. I really don't want our stock up to get... Okay, great. I was going to say I really don't want our stock up to get countered, and so I'd rather them play more spells here rather than less. And this also means that I will just go ahead and kill the Nurturing Pixie instead. Oh, do they have a Spell Pierce? I really don't like that. I just really don't want our stock up to get countered. Well, we could play stock up anyway, or we can just wait till next turn and play Sunspine Links and make them deal with it. Yeah, I don't want our stock up to get countered. I'm just going to pass. We have a lot to do with our mana for the following turns, and then if something you know, stops these two Sunspine Lynxes, then I'd rather have the ability to play the stock up after, you know, playing our two big creatures that possibly wall off the board a little. Ooh, now we have a Spell Pierce. Okay, I think now I am going to play stock up. The difference is that they have no more Lies mana up, and Spell Pierce gives us a little bit more flexibility into whatever they might have. Looks like they didn't have it, which is kind of nice. Oh, so many options. We can take Quarry Steelcutter Thundertrap Trainer, which is a nice way to trigger the Quarry Steelcutter, but we won't have a land to pay for Pierce. We could take land just so that we have like Sunspine Lynx Pierce up, but given that they didn't counter this, I'm not so sure how to expect that. We could also take Steelcutter Torch, but I think Steelcutter Thundertrap Trainer is just going to give us a little bit more gas. And so I think that'll be my game action. Kieran. It's definitely a little scary to see them have so many creatures. This is a lot of damage. And I don't think this is how we want to use our Pierce. We possibly could have used Pierce just to have them tap out of their mana, but I don't know if that's exactly the game we want to be playing here. Okay, so we could Steelcutter Torch. It's kind of nice. It gives us a blocking creature and kills something. We could also Steelcutter Thundertrap Trainer. That gives us 2 blockers, which I guess is just as good as killing something. They don't have white mana up for No More Lies, so we could also just consider playing the Sunspine Lynx, which is a really nice blocker. It's kind of bad into town ain't big enough. But so is Steelcutter Thundertrap Trainer. Okay, I think I'm going to play Steelcutter and Torch. Just because I think holding up the Pierce is really nice here. And I don't want to lose the option of doing that. Especially given that they don't have white mana up. This looks like they're trying to cast Town on 2 of their things. Probably the Kieran and one other thing. And that definitely rewards us for leaving up the Pierce. Yep. So we'll go ahead, Pierce the Town. And we'll have our 2/2 Monk. And I do think we need to be on the defensive, so I am just going to go ahead and pass. Even if this Monk trades with an Otter or, you know, like blocks 3 damage if they play 2 spells or something, I think that's just something we need to have out of this game. They haven't been playing lands, and so we need to make the assumption that they have spells. Hopeless Nightmare. Okay, I do think our plan just needs to be to play Sunspine Lynxes, and so I'm going to go ahead and discard the Thundertrap Trainer. Uh-oh. Town is really bad, and that's what it looks like they have, which is a little unfortunate. The way they've hovered their cards is just so clear. Yeah. Oh, we're just dead. Yep. Alright. That's okay. I'll see you guys for the next match. Alright, here we are for match number 2 on the play, and I think our hand looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and keep it. Town feels like kind of awkward in these hands that don't have Storm Chaser's talent or like Thundertrap Trainer. But maybe I should consider towning like my Drake Catcher's just protection or something instead. I'm not so sure. It has definitely just felt like a little awkward every time I've drawn it. Alright, I'll go ahead and pass. I do think because we have no way to double spell, and we're looking for a way to utilize our towning big enough, and we have lots of ways to use our mana over the next couple turns, I am going to opt an end step. I think we don't want to draw too many lands, and so I'm going to bottom that one. Monstrous Rage. Okay. Go ahead, just play our Drake Catcher. I guess maybe we should be using it a little bit more defensively against removal. Like if they go to like instant speed to remove our thing, we can save it. Looks like it's just dying now though. You know, tapped out does, I think, just mean that we're casting Stock Up this turn. Stock Up is really nice. I definitely want this Quarry Steel Cutter, best card in our deck. I think the other card I want to take is Monastery Swift Spear. It gives me a way to double spell without needing to like play something like a removal spell proactively or like Monstrous Rage proactively. Like Cutter Swift Spear is a nice like line to take. It is kind of nice that town can just like protect our things. Like they go to a braid, we can town protect our Steel Cutter. Soul Search. Deals your hand, choose a non-land card, exile it. Its mana value is 1 or less. Make a 1/1. Interesting. Well, I imagine that they should care not very much about this 1/1 and should instead take Quarry Steel Cutter. Yep, that's exactly what they're going to do. With a tap land, I think our line is going to be to play Monastery Swift Spear into Stock Up. Another Monastery Swift Spear makes it a little bit more interesting. If we play both, we attack for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if we cast the Rage. But I don't think that's enough. I'm going to cast the Swift Spear, cast the Stock Up. Okay. I think I just want to take my 2 cantrips. They're really nice with the double Swift Spears we have now. We'll see what our opponent does. I was anticipating like a black-white pixie type deck, but Soul Search wasn't super what I was expecting. Oh, that's annoying. This takes the Swift Spear out of our hand. A little annoying to take our hasty creature out of our hand here. We do get to draw, ooh, Quarry Steel Cutter. Banger draws. I don't know if they have any way to remove our Steel Cutters. I don't think so. I think I'm just going to play both of them. Our whole hand is face up. Like, we could have considered playing, like, Steel Cutter with our cantrips, but cantrips are nicer at triggering the Steel Cutters and make the monks bigger. And so, given that I have no quick way to think about the fact that they're going to, like, they'd board wipe both of my Quarry Steel Cutters or something, I think it's totally fine to play both of them. Soul Search, no problem. Take whatever you want. They probably should take a cantrip. Okay. I think they may need to do some soul searching. Alright, so what do we see? We saw lots of removal, lots of spells. Go ahead, put the Spell Pierces in. I don't know. Like, Disdainful Stroke's typically pretty good against black decks. But without seeing the rest of their deck, I don't know if I want to bring in a bunch of Disdainful Strokes. Fresh Start is typically for things like Shieldred, but I don't know if we should anticipate that based off of what we saw. Burst Lightning and Torch the Tower are not great. I don't know if they're playing, like, bats or something, but I don't think we need them. Stock Up for the removal, and then I don't know whether I want, like, Stroke or a way to deal with a big creature if they have one. I think I'll just board in a Stroke. Don't really know why our Strokes are a bunch of different arts, but that's okay. I heard they were fixing that. Did they not fix it yet? I'm tired of importing deck lists and playing several different arts. I just want it to be better. They did already announce the plan to fix it. I believe you're like, once you have one copy of an art and you already have the card, you're going to get all 4. I think that's the change that they made when they announced the Pioneer to Arena thing. And this hand looks pretty good. Storm Chaser's Talent, some useful cantrips, Stock Up, and my guess is this is like a Duress or a Dreams or a spell of some sort. Taking Storm Chaser's Talent is a little annoying, just because we don't have any other creatures to apply pressure. But Stock Up is typically like one of the scariest cards for these decks that are trying to like attack your card advantage. Okay, well, play a land and pass. Probably casting our Opt. try to find something to do. Maze Mind Tomb. Okay, so I think it's probably some sort of control deck. Go ahead and cast that Opt. A Braid. I probably should have boarded this out, but now that it's here, I think I'm just going to go ahead and destroy the Maze Mind Tomb. Seems like a fine use of our mana. Just going to go ahead and do it now. They don't have mana to draw, so I imagine they would probably just scry. There is a chance I should have just tried to find, like, something a little bit more proactive. You know, like, if they have a way to deal with our stock up next turn, we are, like, a little concerned on running out of resources. Okay, well, that doesn't look like they have a way to deal with their stock up. Painland, Demolition Field, Blast Zone. That's a bullying moment if I've ever seen one. Okay. 3 Spire Bluff Canals. Thundertrap seems nice against what they're trying to do. I also don't think I want to miss land drops, though. So I think I want to take Thundertrap Trainer land. Just feels nice, like, play our lands and also have cards that replace themselves. This deck does seem like it's probably a little bit better into these, like, black and white decks that are trying to kind of, like, remove your resources. Demolition Field, sure. You know, I actually think that's better for me. Now our River Pyre Verge is turned on and we can cast a spell. I imagine they have to just to get their own lands with what their mana base looked like. Alright. Alright, let's start with Thundertrap Trainer. My guess is we're going to play Verge and another Thundertrap Trainer. Thundertrap Trainer is also kind of nice under lockdown. Just thinking of all the use cases. Okay, I want this Core Steel Cutter. It's a good card. Right, I'm going to go and play our untapped land now. My internet is struggling a little. I am on a boat in the middle of the ocean. So the fact that I'm playing Arena and my internet's been holding up so far is pretty good with me. Alright, we went with this one, but that's okay. We do still have our creatures. And we'll pass it to them. And I imagine they're going to use some sort of, like... Oh, they're ticking up their blast zone. Okay. I imagine they're going to use some sort of hand disruption to try to take this Core Steel Cutter out of my hand. It seems like a card that they might have a little bit of a difficult time beating. No? Okay. I'm going to play the Core Steel Cutter in the sleight of hand. Leaves the mana up to user spells and, you know, like we have Monstrous Rage or something if we want to. Another Core Steel Cutter sounds good to me. And let's go ahead and attack. I think I'd rather just leave up my, like, 1 mana than cast, like, any of these spells proactively. So we'll do some damage, play a land. This is nice because now we get to Core Steel Cutter Hatcher next turn and still hold up a source. Duress. Okay. Well, I guess you can take the second Core Steel Cutter. Not really sure what our opponent's deck does. It does not appear like they've done very much. Like, they've cast Duress, they've cast Soul Search. They've got, like, some utility lands, but they're playing 2 colors. I'm not sure. Alright, see what they're thinking about doing with their last couple of sources here. Alright, a land, not exactly what we want to see. Especially with Blast Zone on 2. They can't crack it now, but if we play Hatcher and... Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this Hatcher, and then I'm going to re-equip Quarry Steelcutter to the Hatcher. It does mean that like all of our 2-mana things will die if they play a land, but 1, they're clearly already stuck on lands, and 2, this will help us push some damage and give us some things after they blow up the blast zone. So I don't want to move the Quarry Steelcutter. Or I guess if they get rid of the Drake Catcher, then I do. So we'll put it on the new one. And, you know, with it face up, that is probably something we could have anticipated, but now we have a little bit more, like, oomph behind us if they were to just, like, draw land blast zone. They are at 10. I'd like to draw non-lands. I feel like given that this deck has Thundertrap trainers, I know it plays less stock up. Like, I feel like I haven't had a lot of ways to dig in my deck. And I don't think that is, like, meant to be that way. Alright, well, I can't play any of my spells, so I guess we'll just attack. This was, like, kind of my concern about bringing in D-Stroke, but we also haven't seen, like, any creatures. And so I don't know what else we were supposed to bring in. We do have lethal on board. I guess if they blow up Blast Zone, we don't, but... Another land. Not really what we want to see. But we'll go ahead and attack. I imagine they're going to go to 2 and blow up Blast Zone. But there's not much we can do about it. Oh, it does also hit our Quarry Steelcutter. That's rather annoying. Play our land. Definitely a little flooded. Well, hopefully they just play a spell we can D-Stroke. And then we can draw a spell to kill them. I think this is like best case scenario here. Strategic Betrayal. Well, we cannot cast D-Stroke on that. Does also mean they're less likely to die. Alright, Opt. Useful. Give us a spell. Sleight of Hand. Perfect. Alright, Sleight of Hand. Alright, I guess we'll take it into the Flood Maw. Go ahead and attack. My guess is it's going to die, and we're going to be in an awkward situation for the rest of the game, where we have like lots of interactive spells and nothing to do with it. Oh, Ashiok. I don't know what that card does, but we're going to counter it. If you would pay life, we already release so many cards in Excel. Stock up. Banger. I'm going to not read the Ashiok. Okay. What's a better chance of them dying this turn? I think Swift Spear Opt is the better chance of them dying this turn, because we have nothing to bounce it into the Flood Maw. So cast Swift Spear. Cast Opt. Storm Chaser's Talent. Perfect! I believe we have found a way to close out the game. And Storm Chaser's Talent is super useful, because we can use it to get back other spells. Alright, we've done it. I will see you guys for the next match. Alright. We are here for the next one. Our opponent is on the play, and I'm going to go ahead and keep this. And we'll go ahead and play our Swift Spear, blue-white land. The thing is that Anchorage could mean anything. I think typically Omniscience does not play the Anchorage. Omniscience. But Jeskai and Pixie all do. So my guess now that I've seen this Spiral Buff Canal is that this is Jeskai Oculus. I guess it could still be Control towards the tower. And it can still be either. I think it's probably Oculus because this is holding up Spell Pierce mana. I feel like I kind of want to just play my Swift Spear. It's kind of nice to hold up Rage against like another Torch. And then I probably will opt in end step if there's no reason for me not to. Mostly because I don't want to miss land drops. I really don't like missing land drops. Oh. I didn't even notice this go to the yard. They just have the nuts. Well, this game, definitely going to be an upward battle. Stock up with no third land. Definitely not helping us. Rage. Okay, well, we do have ways to get over the Oculus. Does that mean that we're going to be able to win the game? Not so sure. I think we're going to cast this Thundertrap trainer, mostly because I think our best option of winning this game is flying into the Floodmaw. Okay, town ain't big enough. Is kind of into the Floodmaw. I am going to attack, mostly because if they block, I can just Rage. And I'm happy to remove some things from their side of the board. Do I want to Rage with no blocks? I think so. It puts us damage, and it gives us the monster roll to like maybe bargain a little later. I think pushing damage is the more relevant of the reasons. Ooh, the boat is moving. I'm shaking. I don't know if it comes across on the camera, but it doesn't feel very good. Glacial Dragon Hunt. This is probably killing me with a spear. Another Oculus. No chance that they can put the second one into play too, right? I think if they cast Helping Hand, I'm going to concede. I don't think we can beat 2. I think it's 2 combats. Oh, this is brutal. No blocks. They will get to attack for another 5. We're very likely dead here, but I'm not so sure what we were supposed to do about it. Alright, Spiral can also see. If they attack, untap the Oculus, we can block and town. And then that puts us to 1. Well, I think that's our only option. So, let's try it, shall we? They do also have 6 cards to just replay the important Oculus. I think we're probably in Garbage Town. I do now know that that means that the game is in a place where it is unwinnable. But with exactly this game action, we can go to 1. And so, let's do it. Because they get a second combat, but they don't have another untapped creature to attack with. They do just get to play the Oculus. And so, even at 1, I think we're probably dead. But this will at least give us the draw step and we'll persevere. Alright, let's see if they just cast the Oculus. Yeah. Not really sure if we have an answer to this, to be honest. But let's draw a card and then we'll hit the concede button. Yeah. None of this is going to answer this, so I'll go ahead and concede. Try again in the next one. Alright. Litho. Torch over Burst Lightning. A Breed a little too expensive. Ghost Vacuum definitely good. I don't know how to feel about Lynx in this matchup. It looks like it does a lot of damage. Let's try it. I've given little respect to Lynx in the past. I think I don't want these Monasteries of Spears in this matchup. This looks like a pretty good plan to me. Let's try this. And we'll give it a shot. This is going to be my last game for the video, I think. Between cruise Wi-Fi and the boat shaking, this is a bit much. But I wanted to make sure I played a little bit more standard before Hartford and felt out this build of the deck. I don't know if I like it more than the other stock builds. I'm sure I would need to play with it more and like consider taking slightly different lines. We've joked about the calibration period when you play new decks is like you play them slightly differently. And so maybe that is the problem with my approach, but I'm not so sure. Alright, this hand looks good. Go ahead and play our Storm Chaser's Talon on turn 1. I love making otters. Spirebuff Canal, Spyglass Siren. No problem. Okay. I think I'm just going to play my Thundertrap Trainer. Go ahead and attack first. If they block, then I'm just going to opt. But it wouldn't make much sense. And I like playing Thundertrap Trainer because if I end up drawing a mountain, or like, even if we just play the island with the Drake Catcher, I feel like we can protect it a little bit more, which is really nice. Sea Chrome Coast. Look at that. Perfect 3-color mana base, and we couldn't even draw 2. Fear of missing out. Oh, they just have it every time. Discarding the Oculus. It's a big ouch. Alright, River Pyre Verge. Definitely a nice option here. I think I don't want to attack. I think I want to just play our Drake Catcher and hold up the opportunity to protect it. Oops. Especially since next turn we can like stock up and protect it, or stock up and attack. Probably stock up and find Into the Floodmaw for this Oculus that it feels like is coming into play. Just feels like they have it, you know? Sometimes you just have a feeling. Oh, hovering. Yep, there it is. Not very fun to deal with. Fear of missing out, discard Oculus, bring Oculus back every game. High Noon. Well, that's incredibly concerning. Because now I can't even cast, like, several spells to try to get out of this. It does mean that I'm going to be playing the opt in the end step to try to find Into the Floodmaw. I do think that we have enough on the field that we can win if we Floodmaw the Oculus. But the Oculus cannot stay in play or the game is over. Rage. Okay. We could attack with our Drake Catcher and just make it big. But that still only makes one Drake, given the current board. Alright, town ain't big enough will be an answer, so we'll take it. And then, I guess a land. I don't really want to miss land drops. I think ideally, like, I don't know, every time we've had this town, I would have just preferred it was an Into the Floodmaw. It'd be so much better as Into the Floodmaw here. Alright, we're mapping. Taking a lot of damage here. Glacial Dragon Hunt. Okay, well, we can likely protect a creature. Alright, well, that's nice at least. We get to protect our Hatcher. Alright, Oculus coming in. 3 cards in yard. This does mean that if we bounce the Oculus, we're not in so bad of shape. They're like pretty far away from being able to cast it. But like, what if we town the High Noon? If we town the High Noon, we can cast a lot of spells this turn, and we can get it back next turn. I think I want to do that. Get back our Storm Chaser's talent. Let's... Let's play it. Just thinking about exactly what our options look like here. We do need 1 additional land. Oh, and they get 2 attacks. Maybe this was bad. I think this was maybe not good. If we rage the Hatcher, it gets +3/+0 because it ruses the monster token. That can make 2 2/2s in the air that can at least block. If we monsters rage something else, then it'll have 5 power, which is not ideal. If we monsters rage the Otter, our Otter does live. If we monsters rage the Hatcher, we get 2 flyers, and our Otter trades. I think I'm going to monsters rage the Hatcher. It means our Otter lives, and our Otter trades, and we can make a bunch of little flying guys. And that feels like it might be our path to winning the game. I'm a little concerned about our being 1 land off of this, returning with Storm Chaser's talent, and fear of missing out, giving 2 attacks. But maybe we can find a way to kill them. The chair in this room is not particularly comfortable. Already playing the High Noon. Okay, pass to attackers. The attack was just the Oculus. It's not so bad for us. I think we'll just take it. Okay, we'll make our 2 drakes. Manifest Dread. Ghost Vacuum. Okay. We can only cast 1 spell. If we stock up and we find another to Tabe, we can cast it on their turn. Stock up looks at the most cards here. I think we have to cast stock up since we don't have another land. Alright, Floodmaw. Latha's also kind of nice. I think we'll take the Litho. And then I think I want to attack with both. That's bad into... If they just play land, blow up High Noon, we need 4 blockers. Let's attack for 2. I'm like fairly confident if we survive the following turn, we can try to win the game. And that means I need to stay alive to play a land, blow up High Noon. Maybe we... Can we survive to play Land Blow High Noon? They have a zillion combats. Okay. Cast Floodmaw on the Oculus. Depends what they have. Now we can block this one, the flyer, the 2/2, and then just eat this one. So what is why we left all of our creatures back? They can only play one spell. Okay. This is positive for us surviving, I think. Glacial Dragon Hunt probably means our Draycatcher's dying, but that's not the end of the world. Okay. Well, surviving is a great step. If we just attack and get back town. Sounds like a good plan to me. Alright, given they played an instant, I think I want to cast my town now. Because they can't cast another spell this turn. That means we won't die right away. So the most impactful play is probably just casting Oculus. We do have the Litho for the Oculus, but we can't take 2. So if they play Oculus, we have to leave back a blocker, and we have to Litho the Oculus, unless we find some way to deal with High Noon. Okay. That is not a way to deal with High Noon. So cast Litho on the Oculus. No attacks. We need it to block. Or we die. Oh, they can just cast this. I guess that doesn't mean we die right away, because it does require them to use all their mana, and they can't blow up High Noon. From there, if we draw a land, we can Storm Chaser's Talent, level up, get back to Tabe. Oh, another Oculus. I see. Maybe an uphill battle. A Steam Core Scholar. Okay, well, we have to trade. Okay. I think our best option here is playing Thundertrap and hoping to hit another to Tabe. Mostly because we can 5 mana to Tabe. Into the Floodmaw. Good enough, I think. At least to survive. I don't know if surviving is good enough anymore. But it's enough to survive. Okay, so we'll block there, and then cast the end of the Flood Maw on the Oculus in an attempt to survive. And, I mean, we're probably dead anyway, but this is our best shot at survival, I think. They can just recast the Oculus. And now they have another 2/2. Yeah, I think we're just dead. Alright, that's going to be all for today's video. If you liked this, please like, comment, subscribe. It helps the algorithm, and I really appreciate all the support. If you want to assist me a little bit more directly, you can do so with my Medify down below. I post lots of articles about like my thought processes. It's where all my guides and stuff will be. Coaching, things of said nature are located there. And, I think that this deck is super interesting. I'm interested in exploring these cards a little further, despite it not going super well today. I typically try not to discount ideas like this right away, because they do oftentimes involve playing the deck in a little bit of a different way than you're used to. And so I'm going to spend some time, reviewing some of the games that I played and thinking about the list and considering maybe a calibration of playing the deck a little bit differently. And, we'll go from there. So with that, I will see you guys next time.